This is Plym Bridge Station, which is on the Plym Valley Heritage Railway. And the railway itself is just on the outskirts of Plymouth at Marsh Mills. And this weekend is a special weekend because they're having an event, a transport weekend, to coincide with the Railway 200 celebrations that are taking place across the whole of the country. And services began on this line in 1859, and the line ran all the way up to Tavistock, and about 5 years later it was extended to Launceston, and it was at Tavistock where the railway connected with the London and South Western line, which connected Plymouth to Exeter via Oakhampton. Services ended at the end of 1962, and a year or two later the track was removed, and the Plym Valley Railway Association were formed in the early 1980s with the aim of reinstating the mile of track between Marsh Mills and here at Plym Bridge. And in fact, this platform I'm sitting on here now, Plym Bridge, was opened 50 years after the line originally closed, and I'm looking forward today to seeing a very eclectic mix of rolling stock. The Plym Valley Railway were staging this very special transport weekend to celebrate 200 years of railway development throughout Britain. The event featured an intensive timetable of trains throughout the day, both steam and diesel, as well as of a rolling stock, and there were driver experiences along with vehicle displays and even a miniature railway. Today was the first time that the railway had two steam engines pulling their train together. The Lord Oliver Brown locomotive TKH 5374 joined resident steam engine Albert on trains throughout the day. The crowds were out in force to see this mightily impressive sight.
Take the other side.
The red line on this map shows the original South Devon and Tavistock line, which ran from Marsh Mills near Plymouth to Tavistock, and the line opened on the 22nd of June 1859, and you can also see on the map the intermediate stations that were provided at Bickley and also at Horrabridge. This map is interesting because it shows all of the railways that existed in the Plymouth area at one time, and the South Devon and Tavistock Railway can be seen in the top right hand corner. You can see Marsh Mills with the railway heading towards Plym Bridge and heading north to Tavistock.
Oh,
Closure of the South Devon and Tavistock Railway was first announced early in 1962, and there was a local campaign to keep the railway open, but to no avail. And passenger services were withdrawn from the 31st of December 1962, which coincidentally was the day before Dr. Richard Beeching took over as chairman of the British Railways Board. The story of the Plym Valley Railway from its birth to the present day is an exciting chapter in the history of the line. The association of the Plym Valley Railway was formed in February 1980, and there followed a couple of decades of really hard work and toil which, amongst other things, principally saw the creation of a base for the organisation, with track being relayed, a new junction, and also a new station at Marsh Mills. Work started near Coy Pool in 1982, and a siding was purchased at Bickley in 1988, which was ultimately to become the site of Marsh Mills Railway Station. Trains began operating on the line in 2001 when they ran for 713 yards northwards to a point called World's End, and another 617 yards to the site of the Leamore Tramway crossing from May 2008. Exactly 50 years and 1 day after it had closed, passenger trains returned to a rebuilt platform at Plym Bridge on the 30th of December 2012. And the crossing here at Leamore was upgraded to accommodate a cycle path. On days when the railway is in operation, a keeper is based here who operates the level crossing gates for trains heading down the line to Plym Bridge Station and back up the line to Marsh Mills. beautiful woods of Plym Bridge have long been an attraction for the people of Plymouth, and the GWR realised the potential here when a platform was opened at Plym Bridge on the 1st of May 1906. This black and white photograph shows the station as it looked in 1968, which was just 5 years after trains stopped running on the line. And so to the present day, with this new platform, which was officially opened on the 30th of December 2012. The platform is a block and beam construction with a concrete surface applied, and the new station is much the same length as the original 1906 build. Sadly though, beyond Plym Bridge, the rails are no more. Back in the day, this station would have been used by thousands of people, especially during the spring and summer months. And during the period between the two world wars, numbers were so intense that special trains were put on to bring people out here from the centre of Plymouth. Here at the Plym Valley Railway, it's not all about running trains, because there's a lot of projects and maintenance work going on throughout the year, and all of this is done by a dedicated team of volunteers. And in fact, the whole railway runs on volunteers, as there are no paid staff. As this was the final train of the day, there was just this chance to get the whole team together for a quick snap before we head back along the line to Marsh Mills. part of today's special event, the railway were offering members of the public the opportunity to drive this Rolls-Royce Sentinel industrial locomotive that was built in Shrewsbury in 1961. The locomotive saw service in areas around Yorkshire and Durham before being purchased by the Durham Locomotive Preservation Group in 2002, and the loco arrived here at the Plym Valley Railway in 2015. The railway were thrilled to announce that the Sentinel would be representing the Plym Valley Railway at the greatest gathering event in Derby from the 1st to the 3rd of August 2025. Meanwhile, this Ruston and Hornsby diesel hydraulic shunting locomotive was previously owned by the Ministry of Defence and was built in 1961. The locomotive is named River Annan, and it's really striking in its MOD green livery. I'm rounding off my visit by taking a look at these wonderful models which are on display courtesy of Plymouth Miniature Steam. Plymouth Miniature Steam is a membership organisation for model engineering enthusiasts, and it's perhaps better known as one of Plymouth's best kept secrets. Their site is nestled in a nature reserve in the Southway Valley area of the city, and there's a miniature railway which is open to the public for train rides on the 1st and the 3rd Sundays of each month from April to October. It's certainly somewhere that I'm going to seek out on a future visit back to my home city. Well, this was the original Marsh Mills station as it looked back in the 1950s and the early 1960s in these archive photographs. Thinking back to when I grew up in the city in the 1970s and 80s, it's hard to believe that this is the same place these days, as so much has changed over the years. Given that pretty much all of the original railway infrastructure in the area had been lost, it is a truly remarkable achievement that the Plym Valley Railway have turned what was essentially just a siding at Bickley into this railway station that you see today. In doing so, the Plym Valley has become a heritage railway that the whole of the city of Plymouth can be justifiably proud.